Hello, happy to meet you back, dear students, CALU students, in this module on cross-cutting issues, and a topic here that is really close to my heart and makes me always almost a little emotional because this topic is the most invisible. I'm shocked, I'm hurt, I'm sad to see how much not only we, and when I say we, I said all societies and programming, how we forgot, we forget, we underestimate the the issue of disability. I already these people are coming from societies in normal times, normal, even times of peace, where there's a lot of stigma in some societies. It's associated with bad karma. So it's a shame for the family, for yourself. And there's this sense that it's your fault. I mean, you deserve what you have. So imagine how is life with an impairment in those conditions. There are many societies where even if the stigma is not that much, and on the contrary, we can see positive policies and actions for integrating persons with disabilities in employment, in politics, in all the different areas of life, where you see how obstacles are put in. Well, that's what makes the difference now between impairment and disability. We disable people. People may have an impairment that produces a number of limitations and challenges. That's there. But we actually, by our blindness and on the topic, or by our ignorance, by our lack of interest and intention, and by just this horrible ability we have to think from one perspective and not being able to put ourselves in the other's shoes, that we create disabilities, and so we add on to what these people already have, which is an impairment, can be more or less severe. I would like to share with you three key moments for me in the three stories that have moved me a lot in terms of disability, and have taught me a lot on disability and the urgency and the absolute need and obligation we have to be more active, more reactive, and more proactive in integrating disability in our humanitarian programs. The first one, it's 2004. I'm working with ECHO, the Humanitarian Aid Department, with Director General now of the European Union. And I go to monitor projects that we fund after a hurricane in El Salvador. And I remember this project I visited. I remember, I still have in my mind when I'm talking to you the group photo we took after the field visit. I was really touched by this project. And there are two things that really moved me. Well, like these moments where it's a breakthrough, you say, oh my God. And it's when first they were managing a displaced people center. So people got displaced by the hurricane, they lost their homes, and they had to be settled somewhere. So the municipality gave a place. I don't remember which was the first use of this place, but this NGO was in charge to work with local authorities and local NGOs, and I think the Red Cross also, to structure everything, organize and get create a place where people can have dignity, humanitarian assistance, and protection. so one component of the project, one of the items they were providing were a number of wheelchairs for the persons with mobility impairment. And already when I see the wheelchairs and we discuss about this aspect of the project, I say, wow, I'm not sure I've ever seen another project in this kind of setups where the NGO thinks about having wheelchairs. No, I'm speaking now. It's maybe, I hope it's something more systematic. Here I'm talking 2004, so it's a number of years back. I'm not very sure. It's just become an automatism, unfortunately, but awareness is growing. And thanks to the organizations working as a target audience with persons with disability. But that's another topic. So here I was at, and at that time at ECHO we still had a special budget line which was contingency, and it was here we would use if among the emergency there was an extra emergency happening, or for example an extra movement of displacement or extra losses that could have not been considered at the time that the project was designed. And they were telling me, so you always had to justify to ECHO and to have the authorization for using this line. And I remember how I still have goosebumps when I remember that. I remember how they were so unique in having this vision and simple things. They were saying, we would like to use this contingency line for making accessible the toilets, the showers, and the room where people would be served the food. And I said, oh my God, yes. And I said, so many emergencies, so many settings, so many moments where these people already have, in times of peace, have these limitations, these obstacles, because in times of peace, I'm wondering how they were anyway moving around because of the lack of financial resources, and they didn't have a wheelchair probably, or they've lost it. Then in the communities, the way everything is organized, there's no way to move anyway with a wheelchair. So I was really moved and inspired that these people were thinking of accessibility, and they had registered what kind of impairment they had, and also the way they were thinking accessibility. It was not only for this mobility impairment, but also visual impairment. They had a few of them, and they had elder people. So elder people have visual impairment, mobility also. So yeah, it was amazing. It was beautiful. It was so simple. So simple. Do you need a specialist for that? No. Just need to talk with persons with disabilities. Ask them, okay, what are your challenges here? How do you access the sanitary? How do you access the shower? How do you actually are able to have your hygiene movements and practices with your impairment? So what do you need as a support? What do you need to access it? How do you access, how do you eat? How do you go to the room where the dinner is served? How can you take your plate? Or what is required for you to have the same access with the same level of dignity than any of the other people? So simple, but very few times done. So that's my first, these kind of moments, and I guess we all have those. No, it's this kind of moments you cannot forget. You cannot forget in all your life and all your humanitarian life. You will have this little thing that's going to activate in your mind each times you're in similar settings. You say, hey, where are the people with impairment? Are they? Where they're not here? Because so many societies where they're hidden, and it's bad karma, it's bad luck and everything. So it's a shame for everyone to it's almost their fault. They have these, and so it's important to look for them. And that's why I said, this topic of disability, it makes me really, it's really special, because we make these people invisible, and we have the duty as humanitarians to make them visible as anyone else. The second moment I remember and I wanted to share with you is 15 years back. 15 years back, I have my first kid. So he was born in Nicaragua, and we moved after a couple of years to India. So it's yeah, between like 14, 15 years, 14 years back actually. I'm going on holidays during summer to France, where my family is. My mother at the time was living in the suburbs of Paris. So I go, I'm here, and I was taking advantage of being in Paris, going to the doctor, buying some stuff for the baby and everything, and because he was small and we were traveling a lot, and it was 14 years back, so even the trolleys and everything, the strollers for the babies were not that light and so that. So it was a big one, very heavy, and but very practical because he could sleep, he could sit, he could everything. No, so I go from the suburbs to Paris, and I do all this stuff, which should have been a light day. I mean, it's going to doctor, and just follow up. I mean, nothing dramatic. Doing some shopping and everything. I came back home that evening, crying, screaming of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. I mean, I spent my day, you take the stairs in Paris to go in the tube, and it's like that. I don't know how many stairs, and you're carrying this heavy stuff. Nobody sees you. Nobody supports you because people don't have time. People don't look at other people. Of course, maybe I had a little of help or 1% in the day. Then you have this, you on the streets, it's all tiny like that. People almost push you to pass before you. Even if you have a car that's poorly parked, you cannot go with your stuff. You have to go in the middle of the road. Oh my God. And then when there is space, there's a dog that has done its poo-poo over there, and that was not collected by the owner of the animal. And it's just, oh my God, it's just all that. But what makes me nervous, it's just, and so exhausted, it's not that it was difficult. I mean, come on, I had worse thing in my life. But it was just this anger, that it's just obstacles that are put by human to humans. And I was thinking, but who thought? Can't you think when you're an architect, when you're an engineer, civil engineer, when you're designing or revising, or when you are elected by people at the responsibility of the decision making of a town infrastructure? Can't you think about people who maybe are not the same than you? And I said, how does a person who has visual impairment walk with the white cane? How does a person with a wheelchair? It's impossible. It's impossible. I had 2 legs, 2 arms, and it's been like a fight. I said, tomorrow I don't do this. So tomorrow I don't go to doctor because it's full of obstacles. Tomorrow I cannot go even and shop. Come on. And I'm of the privilege. So I was thinking, what are the people with impairment? We are creating obstacles instead of enabling them to access the basic citizens' rights, to do basic things of life. So that day, I still remember, I still see myself with this stuff, sweating and saying, my God, what is it? In this also, it's another moment, say, not only we have the duty to think of people, but at least the minimum is, let us not create obstacles. Let us not harm more people. And that's what we do. So we need to correct that in our humanitarian programs and any responsibilities where we have. Put our specs. Put our specs on. Okay. Go and speak with people with disabilities. Go and speak with associations involved with persons with disabilities. It does not take any time. So yeah, that's the second moment. And the third moment, I actually ended up working with Handicap International in Nepal and managing a disaster risk reduction project. And that was 2010. And that was amazing because I got to work for first time with people with disabilities, with associations, organizations, with special mandate and a target audience of persons with disabilities. And actually it was very interesting. It was a DPICO funding, and we were in charge also. One of the responsibilities we had on the project was actually to ensure that all the different DPICO funded partners would integrate disability. So here again, the role of a donor. Now, when a donor takes a stand, donor can make a huge difference. Donors can make a huge difference, and donors often make a huge difference. You know, we like to see and complain about donors not seeing, not this, and sometimes they're very stubborn on other stuff. But here I really want to acknowledge the difference that ECHO made by obliging each of the partners to integrate disability in their TRR projects, and not all of them were so cooperative. So yeah, it was amazing. And then when you work with handicap, at least at that time with Handicap International, you have little training in France, and there was this moment, where this exercise to understand impairment, disability, and where they put a foulard on your eyes so you cannot see. So in this role play, there are two roles. First, you guide someone, you give the arm to someone who has that on the eyes. And here you notice that you just do it wrong. Because I think all of us in the group now, because we have this sort of panic, of something that you've never done, and also this paternalistic kind of approach. Oh, poor thing cannot see, so you're almost grabbing the person to move and the person wants dignity, the person wants freedom, the person wants space, the person just needs eyes, because what's coming on the way is just obstacles. So the person just needs you to see the obstacle, and actually it was an amazing learning. And then the second part of the exercise is when actually you don't see, and then you experience in your flesh, in your heart, and in your soul what it is to depend and to have to trust in someone you don't know, to the point that you need to be guided, and how important it is to be guided with dignity, with efficiency, not with poor thing, I'm going to help you. No, it's not this kind of charity. It's humanity, it's dignity, it's just support. Yeah. So it was very mind-blowing experience also, and we're coming back to this word that I think I've mentioned in each of these cross-cutting issues, is dignity. And let's give dignity to persons with disabilities through making them visible, because they deserve to be visible like any other citizen. Let us provide this dignity, maintain it through ensuring that they are asked the right questions, that they are considered like any other human being, and that their needs, their participation, and are honored always, even when in the context of society putting more obstacle, or society is being full of stigma. Let's play our role. Humanitarian comes from humanity, from human, no? So let's play our role. Let's take that. Let's and at least let's not create more obstacles and do more harm. So yeah, disability, it's just a matter of asking a few questions and saying, put our specs on, and have a different impact, have a really powerful impact, and with dignity, with humanity, with empowerment for the people who we're putting down through all of the obstacles we are creating on the way, adding on their way. So let's remove these obstacles and let's create pathways that make easier their journey and at least enable the same access, enjoyment of our programs.